before you became a sports writer, what were your qualifications?
I was bad at sports.
Okay, well, that's probably a pretty good one, right? You don't have to have a
That's it.
doctorate degree to become a TV critic.
It's exactly right. No one is actually an expert in
Hold
anything.
on. Of the three here, who's the only one who has a degree in radio, television, and film?
Really, really used, but it's at Temple, so it doesn't count. Welcome to another edition of the TV show. And if you can tell we're a little out of sorts, there's a good reason for that. Our host is not here today. His name is Jay Black, but currently he is actually entertaining in Iceland. And Rhea Hughes, I talked to him this morning, and he said he is surrounded by Nordic beauties, but is only pining for his wife. Isn't that beautiful?
And the lie.
And subbing for Jay today is our favorite TV critic, Mr. Glenn Mack. Now, hi, Glenn. How are you?
Hey, guys. Great to see you guys. Hey, Rhea.
Great. Glenn has helped with creating our script today, but I'm just going by what Jay gave us. So we're going to start with the success of the reboot of King of the Hill. Now in its 14th season, available only on Hulu. Now they're just doing it on Hulu, and it's a huge success. People are going crazy for it. And this led Jay to wonder, why are we always bitching about reboots if a lot of the reboots are the most popular things we see? Rhea, let's start with you on this. If reboots are popular, what's so bad about the reboots?
Here's what I always think is like it's the same people who tell me I haven't met a person yet who admits to liking Nickelback, but they've sold multi-bazillion records. So someone is listening to them. I think what it is with reboots, King of the Hill, I might have watched the first two seasons. Unlike you, I don't mind animation. I think for the filmmakers, it's real simple. It's guaranteed audience. So they know that they're going to make money off it because people think back to, oh, isn't this great? You know, I've seen something I've seen before. But when I was doing a little research on it, the filmmakers actually have a word for it, a phrase. It's called nostalgia baiting. And by
Yeah.
doing this,
Mm.
they the minute they say we're remaking, this, and this, people go, oh, I know that already. I don't have to feel something new. This is just an extension of what I loved before. So I think that's kind of the basis for it.
I got you. Glenn, what do you think about reboots?
Well, I agree with Rhea in the sense I think there's so much clutter now. There's so many hundreds of options that people are overwhelmed, and it's hard for a studio or an artist to break through the clutter. And it's expensive to produce shows. Quality TV is really expensive. So if you can put something out without the risk, it's to your advantage. The other thing I think is that, and I guess this expands on that, there's a general risk in business now. We know that from being in the radio to be less risk averse. So they go with what they know will make an audience rather than take a big swing. You look at Hollywood or you look at Broadway, right? It's Mean Girls and Little Mermaid and remakes on Broadway. You look at movies, it's Happy Gilmore 2 this summer and Naked Gun. And so there's very little risk. They know they'll make some money. It works.
Well, I got to tell you that as somebody who loved the first four seasons of Dexter, the greatest reboot in this whole era of reboots to me is what is happening right now with Dexter on Showtime and Paramount Plus. It's an entirely new setting and a whole new approach, but the original showrunner. And to me, the reason that Dexter resonated for me was that it went back to its basics, which is what made us love the show originally. What I'm wondering though is shows that are unique. I'll give you an example, Duster on HBO Max,
Yeah.
which was set in the 70s. You know why it blew out? It is not coming back. They didn't promote it. There
No,
was so little why don't
you
they
told me about it.
promote?
That's the only reason I knew about it.
See, when with a reboot, here's the way I'm looking at it. With a reboot, they have something to promote, your memory of the original. With creative new shows, they don't feel the same commitment to promote them. And to me, if you don't know the show's on, how the hell are you going to watch it?
There's one thing also with Duster, I will say, we have nostalgia for, I'm assuming, Angela, you have nostalgia for things that happened in the 50s, okay?
Yes, very much.
On the 80s, then you have the 90s. I don't always hear a lot of nostalgia for the 70s. So I think there's
Yeah.
like, and I don't know why that is. Like, I love the show Dark Winds. It's set in the 70s, out in, on an Indian reservation. I love it. But there's very few shows that kind of use the 70s as their backdrop.
Right. And Glenn, you mentioned risk averse,
Yeah.
which so many entities, corporations now feel. But how are we going to have the reboots of the future if we aren't finding new entities now?
Well, I think there's still on a smaller scale, prestige programming works and sometimes finds an audience, because I'm sure many of the shows you guys talk about are shows that are streaming somewhere. Duster, I guess, didn't make it, but a lot of the shows that I've discovered this year are kind of smaller prestige shows, but the safe stuff is still is the remake. Some stuff will get through.
Yeah.
I know how you feel about the Bear, right? You really have come to dislike the Bear.
Oh,
But and I don't really disagree. The first 2 years were great. It's gone downhill.
Yeah.
10 years from now, they'll do a reboot of the Bear, and we'll all watch it.
Yeah,
yeah.
probably.
You know what? Yes, you're right. Nostalgia is the key. Now, I want to move to something. This was actually a topic I proposed to Jay a month or so ago. He finally got it on the list here. And I think it involves the Bear. It involves the fact that critics love the Bear and fans not so much anymore. So, I just want to, are we qualified as fans to be critics? Or
Well,
do the critics matter more?
so there's two things here. Of course, you're qualified because you're the one who's deciding whether or not you're going to watch it and whether you're going to share it with friends. Going, I got to watch this. I did. So I found this article. Maybe we can get Jared to post it on Vulture, which is an entertainment news thing. They did a whole thing on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, when I do my British stuff, I always say Rotten Tomatoes score, audience, critic, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realize it's not the math on Rotten Tomatoes is bad. It's either certified fresh or certified rotten. And that, PR companies can get in, you can review bomb. What I've done, and the other thing they said about this is where a movie is screened is hugely important. So a couple years ago, Indiana Jones, the last one that they did with Harrison Ford, they screened it at Cannes, which, am I pronouncing that right? I never know.
Yeah,
Is it
it
Cannes?
is. That's it.
Cannes. They screened it there, and they are notoriously the snootiest film festival ever. So they didn't do great. Conversely, smaller films always start out in these film festivals. So here were the numbers. Angela, did you like The Whale?
Yeah, kinda. Not a
Okay,
lot. It was good, not great.
so The Whale and Blonde, the Marilyn Monroe thing, they screened at these smaller film festivals, and the critics absolutely loved it. When it got into regular people, it went from 84% to 64. So it also depends on it's really down to who's screening it,
Right.
obviously. So, but the Rotten Tomatoes, so what I do, and I've always done this throughout the 3 years we've been doing the show, I don't just go look at the number. This is what I'll recommend to people to trust a critic. I go in and read the reviews. So I'll read a couple of audience ones and I'll read a couple of actual critics. And then I make my decision. And I found that to be very good for me. I've never just gone by the score, but apparently the score can be manipulated
Yeah.
really easy.
Glenn, I want to, what's a better gauge? The critics on Rotten Tomatoes or the audience?
By the way, I've always trusted IMDb more than Rotten Tomatoes for whatever reason. And
All right.
Okay.
I won't really look at a show if it's got a rating of under 7.0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Which, I mean, really isn't that high. There are a lot that are over 8. I tend to agree with the critics more, which is not to sound snooty, but I think that, I have no interest in a Marvel movie, right? And the Marvel movies will get huge ratings from an audience. Here's my thing. Going back to your first question, yes, you are qualified to be a critic, because you have a platform, which may sound simple, but you do. And so what I do is I tend to find critics who I like, who I agree with. If a critic recommends a show and I like it, then I'll go back to that critic for other shows. If not, I'll go away. For years, by the way, on WIP, Ray Didinger and I did a weekly feature called What We're Watching.
Yep.
And I will tell you, more people ask me about that always than any sports opinion I had. Now, that may reflect on my sports opinions more than my TV opinions.
And you know, I was always texting you because it was one of my favorite segments. I was one of those people.
And I took your suggestions as well. So qualified, I mean, listen, I watch a decent amount of TV, and I think I'm pretty discerning. I like highbrow TV. I like lowbrow TV. Critics can be full of themselves, but I think critics serve a good purpose.
Well, I got one more for you, Glenn. I'm coming back at you because I applied for the job as the TV critic at the Inquirer just before I left for radio. You knew that because the TV critic there is the best television critic I've ever read in my life. Your friend, David Bianculli.
Yeah.
Before he became a TV critic, what were his credentials?
He watched a lot of TV.
See, that's it. That's all it is.
Well, listen, he went to college and probably took courses that would have, helped him understand it more.
Right.
I mean, I think the way you do it is the way, hey, before you became a sports writer, what were your qualifications?
I was bad at sports.
Okay. Well, that's probably a pretty good one, right? You don't have to have a doctorate degree to become a TV critic.
It's exactly right. No one is actually an expert in anything.
Hold on. Of the three here, who's the only one who has a degree in radio, television, and film?
Rhea used, but it's at Temple, so it doesn't count. Oh, low blood. Oh, no, you can't do that. This is a family podcast, Rhea.
I didn't say anything.
How dare you? All right, let me get to Glenn's topic because I like it. I love it. Although I am not at all a fan of Ted Lasso. Clearly, it started a trend for sports-related stuff that's also inspiring and now streaming. So, Glenn, I'm just asking you, how did this develop? Could you give us a sense for how the Ted Lasso model developed?
Well, it's interesting, guys, because for years, scripted sports shows failed on TV. I don't know if you remember Bay City Blues, which came off of Hillsborough Blues, and Sports Night, which was kind of like an ESPN thing, and the league, and so on. Coach was an early exception. That was a pretty good show. Then came Ted Lasso, and I think it hit. It's pretty obvious to say because of the pandemic, right? People were home. They needed comfort TV. They needed something upbeat. Ted Lasso played right into that. It was one of that and. What was it, Tiger Lady? What was the name of that show?
Tiger.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was about the tiger guy, the people with the tigers, and maybe the tiger ate the guy. You and Al loved it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Those shows kind of became sensations of the pandemic, and everybody watched it, and everybody spoke about it online. And then I think that the producers realized that it works to also you're selling sports to non-sports fans or to casual fans. It's the same reason the sports rom-com has always worked, the Jerry Maguire kind of model. When Ray and I wrote our sports movie book years ago, we discovered there are all these movies that, like, my wife doesn't care about sports, but she'll enjoy those movies with me. I think this kind of fits that same model that sports fans will watch it because it's sports and non-sports fans will watch it because it's nice. And so it works.
All right. But Rhea, do we need heartwarming with these phony sports stories?
Well, see, Glenn just absolutely hit on it. His wife, is not like the biggest sports fan. She likes the story. So for me, and it's key because a lot of these streamers are now they're in business with the NFL, streaming stuff, Major League Baseball, Apple. If they can get the casual fan to like sports stuff, maybe they might actually watch the game. I know that's crazy, but these meetings these people have.
Right.
And look, the Taylor Swift effect on the NFL, on the Chiefs.
Good one.
Getting, all of a sudden, Chiefs fans, like fathers, are going, why does my teenage daughter want to watch the game with me all of a sudden? Any way you can turn someone into a fan is a good thing for the streamers, for the NFL, for Major League Baseball. So I think that plays into it.
All right, but Glenn, Ted Lasso has its fans, and it's a decent show. I wouldn't say it's a great show, but it's an okay show. Stick, which
Yeah.
is a derivative of it. What do you think of that show?
Yeah. By the way, I love the first two seasons of Ted Lasso, and then like
Yeah,
so many shows to me, it just kind of
right.
lost momentum.
Glenn,
Um,
dead on.
I'm through 5 episodes of Stick, and wish I was through with Stick. It's so disappointing. I like Owen Wilson,
Yeah,
and by the way, what's his name? Mark Maron is the best part of that
he
show.
really
He's
is.
very
You're
funny as
right.
the grouchy sidekick.
Yeah.
But the show itself is bitterly disappointing, mostly because, and if people haven't watched it, they won't know this. You're supposed to be rooting for this young kid who Owen Wilson is teaching to play golf, and the kid is so dislikable
Oh,
that I hate the
awful.
show because I hate the character.
Right.
The other show that I watched, and I know you mentioned this too, was Running Point, which I
Oh,
thought was very uneven. Some episodes were pretty funny. Some episodes were just downright
I
terrible.
found Running Point way more entertaining than Stick. I
yeah.
just did. I thought the characters were
It's a
fun.
low
Like, listen,
bar.
yeah, oh, it is a low bar. But what I will say is, I found it fun. So I think that was the difference. Like all the characters, because I knew this. You know the story of it's about the Lakers. Honestly, about how crazy that bus family was. I found Running Point to be fun. I
Yeah,
really did.
All right, but I think it's important that we note that Stick stinks.
it
That's
Yes.
does. Yeah.
important.
I made it
That
through 2
it's
episodes,
a
Glenn. I didn't get to 5.
Yeah.
stinker.
Well,
Oh
I
my
stuck with
God.
it because I knew we were going to discuss it on the show, so I felt an obligation. Now that we've
Yes,
done it, I don't have to finish it.
really. And by the way, in a couple of minutes, I will name the greatest football movie ever
Oh,
made. And let me tell you something. It's not what you think. Don't look at me that way, Rhea. I don't like that look. But
not
anyway,
going to change.
yes, it is, because you're going to talk about Steven Singer Jewelers,
Yes.
our great sponsor and our good friend.
And here's the thing is we've been talking about critics and reviews and can you trust them? I mean,
Yeah.
you could go on Steven Singer's website and see they're all certified customers, but all I can tell you is my experience. I've been recommending people to Steven Singer for over 25 years. I am now at the point where those people are coming back to me because their son wants to get engaged. And they're like, can you make a call to Steven? I'm like, sure, I can make a call to Steven. I don't have to make the call to Steven. You go into Steven's store, that
Right.
store is Steven Singer. So when you go in there, you are treated with respect. There's no gimmicks, there's no nothing. The reviews for Steven are absolutely certified perfect, and that's what I can tell you about Steven Singer.
Because so are the diamonds, so are the jewels that you're buying. It's an honest appraisal. We don't know anything about that stuff. When somebody says to you, look at that diamond. Oh, it was once worn by Elizabeth Taylor. It could be cubic zirconia for all we know. Stephen will give you the honest truth. That's how he built his business. He's either got a new place open in a new town soon. There's no better place to go. Check it out online at IHateStevenSinger.com. He's at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Rhea Hughes, what do you have for us from England this week?
So this was fun. I've been looking forward to this because this is a movie based off of a bestseller by Richard Osman called The Thursday Night Murder Club. The reason I was looking forward to it, I had the book recommended to me about 6 months ago and I haven't gotten to it. But then I saw the cast: Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan, Ben Kingsley, and then there's another woman who's the fourth, Celine Imrie. So what it is it's these senior citizens who live in, listen, I'm not ready to go in a retirement home. I'd move into this place tomorrow. It is absolutely a stunning, gorgeous retirement community called Cooper's Chase. So they live there, and these 4 people, these 4 elderly people, instead of doing, jigsaw puzzles and art, they have a murder club where they try to solve cold cases, 40 years ago, when all of a sudden a real live murder gets dropped into their laps because the co-owner of Cooper's Chase, their beautiful retirement home, gets murdered. His partner wants to sell Cooper's Chase, knock it down, and build luxury flats. So they now have a murder to investigate. What I will tell you is it's, I would say, maybe 2 steps above a Hallmark movie that is only rescued because I think that the writing of the tale could have been much better. You've got Helen Mirren, you've got Pierce Brosnan, you've got Ben Kingsley, who are all phenomenal. And it's fun. It's Angela, I've trained you that these kind of things are called cozy shows or cozy movies. It's enjoyable. It's nothing like, they're not going to win an Oscar for it. It was fun. I liked it. And I'll give you the Rotten Tomatoes, and I went on and read them. Rotten Tomatoes, 75% critic. The audience was not as friendly to it. It was 54%. Just say it's charming. And Pierce Brosnan, I think for the whole of his career, what was the TV show he was on?
Remington Steele.
Remember how charming and goofy and dashing he
Yeah.
was? Then he went into a lot of serious stuff. Then he went to Mamma Mia, where he got to, go out a little bit. Pierce Brosnan plays a retired union activist, and he's a hoot in this. He's absolutely still, I don't know how old that man is. He's still great looking, but it's enjoyable. If you want to watch something on a, Sunday afternoon when the Eagles are not playing, like maybe this Sunday, because they're playing Thursday night, I enjoyed it.
Thursday Night Murder Club, Netflix?
Yes, it's on Netflix.
Okay, and let me just say, Rhea, just tell me if this is bad.
Yes.
My wife said that since I left radio, she now runs a retirement home in my house. Is that a bad sign?
Well, I was out to dinner with you last Wednesday, and you were yelling really loudly. But I will just say, of the clientele, Angela, we appeared really young.
Retirement home. Glenn Mack now. What have you been watching lately that you enjoy?
Well, I'll give you a couple. And Rhea, I think you said cozy shows. It's funny because my wife and I refer them as comfort shows, right? After we'll watch some really intense thing, we're looking for something that's just kind of like a relief show. And we found one on Netflix called North of North. It's a small, sweet comedy set in the northernmost inhabited region of Inuit Canada. You go to the North Pole, you keep going north, and you eventually get there. It's about an ambitious young woman stuck in this tiny town where everybody gossips, locked into a bad marriage with her high school sweetheart who now ignores her, dealing with her mother who's trying to get sober. So she breaks away very publicly, leaving her husband and this repressed life. She doesn't go anywhere. She can't. That's where she is. She has an affair or two, tries to build a career, at least get a job. It's a really nice coming of age story with a lot of heart, very tender, some laughs, interesting cultural references you won't get anywhere else on TV. Where else do they play baseball using a walrus dick as the bat? So you got that going.
Okay.
North of North.
Glenn, I've clicked on that a couple of times, and I wasn't sure I would like it, but now that you've watched it and you like it, I will check it out.
I did like it. And the other is, you and I share a love for British cop shows. One of my all-time favorites is Unforgotten. Oh. There is a new season that just dropped on PBS. It's a great procedural, one of the best, focused on investigations of a long time ago. They find the body and try to solve the coldest of cold cases. Here's the challenge with it, and here's why I'm going to tell people to hold off. PBS is dropping it 1 week at a time. And so I watched the first week, and what they do on this show is they introduce this wide-ranging group of suspects, seemingly unrelated to each other, with all sorts of motives, and you have to kind of follow it as it weaves around. And if you watch it once a week, what I kept doing with my wife is put it on hold. You go, wait, Judy, was that the guy last week with the thing with the other woman? And so wait for it to drop. It's 6 episodes. Come back in a month. Set your DVR to record it now. Unforgotten on PBS. One of the great.
Can I just say,
please,
why Glenn and I are great critics? Glenn, I didn't want to stop you. I reviewed episode 1 of Unforgotten last week.
Oh,
it is virtually the same criticism I gave. I told people to wait till the end because it's a phenomenal show, but they drop so many red herrings in the first episode. You won't be able to follow it. So
I just want to give one more show because, and Ange is probably why I didn't mention this before, but it's one of my favorite things I watched this summer. I know Ange watched it and loved it. The Ed Sullivan Sunday Best, the Ed Sullivan documentary.
I didn't watch it yet.
Oh.
No, I've been immersed in other stuff. I have a life, Glenn. I don't have time to do all this TV watching that you do.
Right, your busy life. Here's the thing. What I did, Ed Sullivan to me and to you, Ange, and to anybody above a certain age, was this stiff who had a TV show who booked Elvis and the Beatles and the Stones and the greatest acts. But what I never knew was he was a pioneer in promoting black acts and putting them on when nobody else would. And sponsors are quitting him, and the Ku Klux Klan is marching against him. And Ed Sullivan, I'll give you just one example, and I'll stop. He's got Louis Armstrong on, right? And the network says, okay, we'd rather you don't, but if you do, whatever you do, just don't touch him. Don't touch a white man can't touch a black man on TV. So at the end, Ed Sullivan makes a real point, shakes his hand, embraces him. National news. Great, great documentary.
Wow. It's called Watch Sunday Best, and it's on Netflix.
No, it's called
Sunday Best. Now I will watch it. I will watch it, Glenn. Thank you.
I think they want you to watch it.
Absolutely. And I just want to say, we are actually recording this a day before the beginning of a new NFL season, which is just the best for me at Red Zone Channel, the whole deal. And I thought, this would be the perfect week to recommend a great football movie. Well, I looked at the list of the greatest football movies. Rhea, Blindside, Friday Night Lights, Invincible, right here in Philly, Longest Yard, the original, Brian's Song, all great football movies. Not the best. And I'm so thrilled to be able to do this because he was my late, great partner at the beginning of my radio career at WIP, Tom Brookshire, who said to me, you want to see a real football movie? Watch Everybody's All-American. And it is, I watched it again yesterday. Yes, I pried loose some time. I watched it. It's a little over 2 hours. It is absolutely the best football movie because it takes one of the themes we talk about all the time. What is it like for an athlete when the cheering ends? What is life like then? And Dennis Quaid goes from playing a college superstar, an All-American, all the way into a great football career in the NFL. There is a scene in there when he's in the NFL. It's right at the end of his career. It's a football scene in the snow in Denver. It is the most beautiful. Taylor Hackford is the director. It is one of the most beautiful scenes of football I have ever witnessed in my life.
Len is going to get his book. I guarantee he's going to get his book of the, I knew it, sports movies.
Frank DeFord. There it is. Frank DeFord, Glenn, is in the film.
Yes, I'm aware.
He runs a little cafe, and he's in it very briefly. One of the greatest writers in history.
You know who agrees with you on this, by the way? Because when Ray and I wrote this book.
Yeah.
Right. It's in the book. We don't have it as the best football movie, but it's toward the top. We asked like 200 athletes, broadcasters, actors, what was their favorite sports movie ever. That is Merrill Reese's favorite movie.
Wow.
Because we're brilliant. That's
so you
what
have company on that. Yeah.
Now, I paid $3 for it to see it on Amazon, but it's not only got Dennis Quaid, who should have won an Oscar as Gavin Gray. It's got Jessica Lange in her physical prime, Timothy Hutton in his physical prime, Carl Lumley is. John Goodman plays the lineman.
Have you seen John Goodman recently?
Yeah, he's not fat like that.
Oh my God,
he was really fat
pounds.
in the movie. But it is the best football movie ever. And I totally forgot that Glenn and Ray Didiger had written the defining book on sports movies. Glenn, put it up there again. If you want to know what, the introduction, the forward was by, tell him, Glenn.
Gene Hackman, the late great Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman. Yeah. Gene Hackman.
And by the way, we didn't have to change a word.
Yeah.
Like we thought he would just like talk to us and we'd write it. He wrote it and it was great.
Where did Hoosiers come in?
Excuse me? Say that again?
Wait. I said, where did Hoosiers come in? He wrote the forward.
Hoosiers should have been
number
first.
2.
And we told him that.
Hoosiers is 201, Glenn.
2.
And Rockies 1. They know how to sell a book. What do you think? They're morons? Let me go over what we're telling you about this week. If you want to see the reboot of King of the Hill, you can on Hulu. Duster, which we referenced during that, HBO Max, is terrific. The Beer is on Hulu if you want to see a movie, a TV show sink into the abyss after 2 great seasons. Stick on Apple TV is not worth your time, but Ted Lasso is, if you want to check it out. The Thursday Night Murder Club is on Netflix. North of North sounds really good. That's on Netflix. Us is on the PBS network. Everybody's All American is on Amazon for like $3. And don't forget the Ed Sullivan documentary that is now running on Netflix. Thank you all. Jay will be back next week with stories about Iceland. And until then, I want to thank Jared Clapper, a terrific producer, for letting all this happen today. And we'll see you next week. Happy viewing.
Thank you, Glenn.
You got it, guys. My pleasure.